when Jesus invited each of the 12 disciples to join him and they made the decision to follow him, it changed their lives. Their lives would never be the same again, but they still had their issues. The Gospels show us over and over again that the disciples didn't really have a clue what Jesus was teaching about. They were self-absorbed. They were short-sighted. They lived from a position of fear. One of them, Judas, ended up betraying Jesus. Another of them, Peter, when confronted, denied that he ever knew Jesus. Almost all of them hid in the upper room after Jesus' crucifixion, worried that they would be next. After Jesus' resurrection and after Jesus appeared to them several times, the disciples eventually left the upper room to go fishing. It's like they didn't know what to do, so they just reverted to the only thing they really did know something about, which was fishing. But then something happened. Something changed within them. They eventually stopped fishing and hiding in the upper room. They eventually started traveling around the world, telling people about Jesus. They went to Africa. They went to India. They went to Turkey and Greece. They went to Syria and Italy. 10 of the original 12 disciples were martyred, killed for their faith and their work in spreading the faith. Do you see the change here? I mean, they went from scared and afraid to resolute and completely unafraid to live out their faith and continue spreading the faith across the world. What happened? What was the event which caused this change? They received the Holy Spirit. Jesus had entered their life and changed it, but the Holy Spirit took that initial change and just ramped it up exponentially. The Holy Spirit became the engine of their faith. As more people came to believe in Jesus, and as they received the Holy Spirit too, their faith started running on the same engine. In fact, seeing the Holy Spirit in other people's lives was the way that people were able to identify them as Christians. There was a guy named Paul who spent part of his life hunting down Christians to imprison them, or even worse, to have them killed. But then he had a direct experience of God, and he ended up becoming Christian. Of course, all the other Christians were very wary of this guy who used to hunt down Christians, now claiming to be one. They thought it was a trap. But then eventually they saw the same Holy Spirit in him that was in them, and then they knew that he was one of them. Today, when we ask the Holy Spirit to come to us, the Holy Spirit still does. When we have a baptism, we ask that the Holy Spirit would come down and make the water holy. When we celebrate the Eucharist, we ask that the Holy Spirit would come down and make the bread and wine holy. When we ordain someone, a deacon, a priest, or a bishop, we ask that the Holy Spirit would come down and set them apart for that particular ministry. But anyone can ask for the Holy Spirit to come to them. You don't have to be a priest or a bishop to have the Holy Spirit. The same engine of faith that the early church had is available to you. One of the most ancient prayers of the church is a simple one. Come, Holy Spirit. You can pray right now, come Holy Spirit, and the same Spirit that fell upon Peter, James, and John will come upon you.